Good evening, everybody. As always, if you could just let me know if you can see me and hear me okay, then we'll go through the usual routine of saying hello to everybody that's made it into tonight's live stream. So just let me know, as always, in the chat if you can see and hear and everything looks and sounds okay. If you can, that would be absolutely fantastic. So first of all, hope everybody's having a fantastic week. Hope you're all staying safe and you're looking forward to what will hopefully be a decent summer. So, anybody going to let me know if... Thank you very much. Audio and video, okay. Thank you very much, Stratos. You're an absolute gentleman. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll start off with our usual. Just going to say hello to everybody that's in tonight so far. Now, if anybody is new, and this goes for now or anywhere through the live session, just do hashtag new. I can take a look then and I can do some welcomes and say thank you very much for coming in and getting involved. So, first of all, let's take a little look at who we have in tonight, and then we can take a look at what we're going to be covering tonight. Okay, so as always, Kyle Van Dusen, good evening. Good to see you in here tonight. Thank you for making it over from, I'm assuming you probably had your live stream yourself. Thank you very much for joining in anyway. Sohinia, good to see you as well. Thank you very much for letting me know it's loud and clear. Sean May, thank you very much for letting me know. Deanna, Michael Wright for letting me know that it's actual BST, not GMT right now. That's British summertime as opposed to Greenwich Mean Time. Although summer, we'll say. Chris, good evening to you as well. Stratos, always good to see you in tonight. And if anybody doesn't know Stratos, take a look at his channel over on YouTube. He does some great videos on Oxygen, also covering things like bricks and Elementor and some other tools as well. So check out Stratos' tutorial channel over on YouTube. Just do a search for Stratos Tutorials and you'll find it, no problem at all. Marco, good to see you in tonight as well. Steve Pro, always a pleasure. And who else do we have in? Eddie, good to see you. And Insomnia Rocks, good to see you, and thank you very much for supporting me via buying WP Compress over on AppSumo. That's very, very much appreciated. You're an absolute gentleman or star. Okay, Sean, yeah, good to see you as well. Permaslug, as always, good to see you. And if anybody's looking for some awesome tutorials on dealing with Oxygen, check out Permaslug's channel. He does amazing live streams and also has a ton of really, really useful tutorials on getting most out of Oxygen, tools, different plugins you can use with it, those kinds of things. So head over to YouTube and do a search for Permaslug, and like you say, while you're there, do a search for Stratos Tutorials as well. Very much well worth subscribing to if you're into those particular platforms. Even if you're not, subscribe. Awesome channels. Paolo Cesar, good to see you in. Jasmine, good to see you. Hope you're doing well tonight. There's me, so I'm going to say hello to me. Okay, so that's all we've got in tonight so far. Like I say, if you're new to the live stream, so the first time you've ever made it here, just to hashtag new in the chat. And I'll just keep an eye on those a little later, and we'll say a couple of special welcomes to those amazing people that are actually joining in. And hashtag old if you're A, old, like me, or B, you're used to coming around here. Just let me know. Okay, who do I have? Anna, good to see you in from Mexico. I hope you're doing well. I'm sure it's probably a damn sight warmer out there than it is here in the UK. And Andrew, good to see you in as well. And I'm not going to miss out. Rich, good to see you in. Great to see you made it tonight. Okay, so if you are enjoying the live streams we've been doing over the last, flipping heck, 8 months, around about 8 months now, give the video a thumbs up. Let YouTube know that you're enjoying what we're doing around here. Okay, so a couple of things I want to cover tonight. We're not going to go into anything too heavily. I just thought it would be a little bit of fun to talk about a couple of topics on things that I'm using at the moment and to get your feedback on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly just pull up my first slide and we're going to take a look at this. Is the kind of key topic we're going to talk about tonight. Artificial intelligence, or AI as it's more commonly known. Is it a tech fad or is it truly useful? And this is more to do with web design, business, those kinds of things, as opposed to, world domination and being taken over by Terminator robots, which I'm sure is probably at least 2022 the way that 2020 and 2021 have gone so far. So I'm going to talk about a couple of the tools that I've sort of been using lately. I'm going to sort of show you what I'm talking about and give you my kind of feedback on why I think they are useful, and talk about the general AI and my feelings towards what we're talking about here with tools to help designers, creators, content creators, marketers, those kinds of things. Interesting kind of topic. It is for me anyway, and hopefully you'll enjoy it tonight as well. And as always, this is a two-way conversation. So anything that I talk about, any comments, any feedback that you have on any of the things that I'm going to cover tonight, whether you picked up any of the deals, whether you use any of the tools, or you just generally think it's a load of old rubbish, I want to know your thoughts tonight. So, a couple more hellos to kick things off, and then we'll get the conversation started. Charlie Bird, good to see you in tonight. No reaction, good to see you as well. Paul Tracy, great to see you. Ripal, great to see you as well. Ronald, lots and lots of the usual faces in here. We're all very #old, and we all. Okay, right. I'm probably gonna just say this really badly. Joao, I have no idea. So I do apologize for that, from Brazil. But I'm going to pull you up on the screen so everybody can see why I'm struggling with what is an incredible name. So my apologies if I didn't say that very well. I'm pretty sure I probably didn't. Moises, good evening from Mexico. Great to see. So we've got a couple of people in from Mexico tonight. Great to see. So, okay, so artificial intelligence, AI, when it comes to dealing with web design, marketing, promotion, creating content, writing blog posts, those kinds of things. This is where I'm coming at it from. And I will be honest, up until very recently, most of the platforms I tried out really didn't impress me. They were very much more miss than hit. However, a couple of deals that I've tested out via AppSumo after checking out some of the reviews and also taking a look at a platform which isn't on a lifetime kind of deal kind of thing. This is something you have to pay for monthly, but that is also picking up a lot of traction when it comes to being a really solid platform. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about, a couple of different platforms we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm just going to quickly pull up what I've been using and the deals that I bought. I'm going to give you my experience on those, and I'm going to take you into the dashboard of these, and I'll show you how they kind of work as well. So first of all is Writesonic. So I don't know if, no, for some reason my screen doesn't want to display properly, so I do apologize, but Writesonic is a tool that I've been using for a little while now, and I found that it actually is a pretty solid tool. It really does work really well. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm not going to be able to share my screen with everybody tonight, so you're going to have to just kind of listen to me talking, which I'm sure is going to be really fun for you guys. But basically, Writesonic is a tool that allows you to use artificial intelligence to create content based upon the information that you put in. And this is the key thing. You put rubbish in, you'll get rubbish out. But I've found that with Writesonic, as one of the tools, that it actually gives a really solid set of results. I mean, so much so that I've actually used various different parts of this on a landing page that I'm testing out for the webinar that I'll be launching in the next couple of days. And I was really blown away by how good this content actually was. Well written, written in English, made sense. Yes, you want to tweak it a little bit, but in general, it was really solid content coming out. Now, Writesonic works on a credit system, and I think the deal with AppSumo, the bottom of the line gives you something like 40 credits, I think it is. But most of the things you do on there are either 1 credit or free. So you can get a lot of content every single month with your credits and the free things. And you can do things like, let me just sort of go to the screen. Unfortunately, like I say, for some reason, this does not want to share it for me. But let me just kind of go over and give you an idea of some of the things that you can actually do with Writesonic, the kinds of different types of content you can create. And there's new ones being added fairly regularly. In the last couple of weeks, probably the last 2 weeks, they've probably added about half a dozen new features into this. And they generally come back with some pretty solid results. But you've got things like Content Rephraser. So if you've got a piece of content and you just literally want to rephrase it into a different tone of voice, and you can kind of say what tone of voice you want, whether it be professional or humorous or lighthearted, those kinds of things, and it will tweak the way that it's actually worded. But this is great if you're the kind of person that you've got an idea, but you can't necessarily get it down into a market-ready, sort of an audience-ready type of content, and you just want some help. Copywriters are inherently expensive to employ. And if all you really wanted to do is take what you've put together and create something a little bit more catchy, a little bit more professional, a bit more polished, that could work out quite expensive for what ultimately could be a small amount of work using an AI tool like Writesonic. Other things you've got, Sentence Expander. If you kind of know what you want to say, but you just really need to flesh it out a little bit, Sentence Expander could be really useful. Put in what you want to say and let it expand it. And most of these will come back with probably 5 different results. That includes things like landing pages, 5 different landing pages with your hero section, your bullet points, your call to actions, those kinds of things. You've got a readability checker, a grammar fixer, an ADA framework. Now, if you've never heard of ADA, stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. This is a proven framework for lots and lots of use cases for promotion and marketing and things like that. So there's tons of different things on here. You can get email ideas, you can get Google ads and Facebook ads, landing page copy, feature to benefit, SEO meta tags. I mean, product descriptions. If you have an e-commerce site and you struggle writing content for every one of those products, product descriptions inside a tool like this could be a godsend. Then there's some things that I don't really think are quite as useful, like growth ideas. These are, sort of growth tactics, startup ideas. But there's a lot of good things like YouTube video titles. If you struggle with creating catchy video titles, which I know for me isn't always the easiest thing in the world to do, this can be really useful. So there's lots of different use cases on where AI can really come in and can be very, very useful. But why I'm talking about it is because I do think that this is something that you could use inside your business to make more money. And ultimately, you know me, when it comes down to dealing with these kinds of things, we talk about how can you create a more successful business? How can you improve your business? How can you, sort of flesh things out and give more value to your clients? Well, being able to do things like, for example, write Google ads or Facebook ads, create content for, e-commerce, create landing page content based upon the basic information that a client may give you. These are things that you could ultimately charge good money for. And I think the tools, if you can find a solid tool right now, I honestly do think that these are things that are going to get better and better and better as time moves forward, and they are trained to become more intelligent. And the one thing I've found with the tools that I've been testing out is they come back in a very human form. In other words, they don't sound like what I've seen in some of the older sort of AI tools. And when I say older, I could be talking something from maybe 2 or 3 months back where I've tested. Some of the results they would come back were just basically gibberish jargon. They'd gone and just grabbed a pile of words, stuck them together into a paragraph and gone, there you go, there's some AI content, which was just junk. But these tools, probably 95% of the time that I've been using WriteSonic, it's come back with usable quality results. Like I say, you are probably going to have to tweak them. But again, if, let's just say, for example, English isn't your first language or you're not that strong in it, this could be a great tool where you just literally pull in bullet points and you can then just get that to spit back out what would be a much more cohesive way of maybe wording something that you might come up with when English isn't your native tongue. Lots of different use cases. So I've put some links into the description of the video, which you can check out if you want to. Like I said, no obligation. They are affiliate links if you want. Well, actually, some of them are. Conversion AI isn't. That's just an ordinary link to the website itself. But if you want to just grab them from AppSumo yourself, by all means, crack on and do that kind of thing. But they're worth checking out. So that's the first one I wanted to talk about. Now, have you, any of you, used any AI-based tools? If you have, what have you used? What's your experience been with it? Have you found that they've come back with good quality results, the kinds of things you could use? Or were they absolute junk? And if they came back with good results, what kinds of things were you using it for? Were you using it to help you write blog posts? Or were you keeping it really, really simple and just getting some ideas for different things? Let me know, because I'd love to know how you're using them. So let me just jump over to the comments now and take a little look. So I can see Heinrich, you've been using, I can see Conversion AI, which is one that I'm going to talk about a little later. This is one that's getting a lot of hype surrounding it. So use Conversion AI and it works well, but the results need editing. It's good to get you started. And that's the kind of point I think, you don't necessarily going to use these to get the final polished result, but they're going to get you probably 80, maybe even 90% of the way there in many different scenarios. And like I say, not everybody is good at writing sales copy. Not everyone is good at writing Google ads or Facebook ads, but you might have a need to do it. And you don't have the budget to outsource that to someone or a company that could be charging hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to do some of the different things that you're doing. So, have you used any yourself? What are your thoughts? Let me know what tools you've used and we can take a little look at what everyone's saying. So, what do we have? Let's have a little look-see. Okay. WriteSonic, $59 on AppSumo. Yeah. And I bought the bottom, the sort of one the tier 1 as they've kind of called it now on AppSumo. And I say, for the sake of $59, which is about £37, I think it is, something like that at the conversion rate that I tried, I've been using it quite a lot lately. Now, I'm going to give you a little sort of power tip when you're using these kinds of tools if you have some of the other deals that I picked up over on AppSumo, or if not, if you're just using these tools, because in combination, they can be pretty formidable and you can create some really super powerful content. So let's have a little look. Let's have a little look. Right, sorry, yeah, $59, Steve, you're right. Heinrich. So yeah, the results are pretty good. Use it for blog posts. This is another thing that a lot of these different tools have, is they have the ability to create blog posts. You can have blog post ideas. You can have listicle ideas, which are basically just lists of, let's just say, for example, the top 10 Elementor plugins. It's a listicle. It's just literally brief information about each one, and then generally used to market and promote a particular set of affiliate products. That's what you'll generally tend to see when they create these kinds of things. But I found that I use it to sometimes give me ideas, but I found that Writesonic actually comes back with some really solid landing page ideas, some really solid YouTube title ideas, and actually some really solid just blog ideas. You sort of pop in a couple of different pieces of content or some ideas, should we say, and a title kind of thing, and it really does come back with some pretty solid results. Now, the other one that I've tried and bought into is one called Niches, which is with 3 S's at the end of it, although if you look at the logo, it's $2 signs. Now, that one works a little bit differently. That's over on AppSumo again. I think it's in the marketplace. The link's in the description of the video. That's, I believe, $59, either $49 or $59, I think it is. But that doesn't work on credits. That is unlimited. You can use that as many times as you want to. But the one thing that I found with that, and it's not saying it's a bad product, but they are scraping the information from online, and it's got a plagiarism check. So if you look for actual content, for example, maybe for blog content or for something specific, and it comes back, spits out a couple of paragraphs, if you check that, or when I checked it at least, every time it came back with a plagiarism report, basically saying this was information that was available either whole or in part online, which is obviously something you want to stay well away from. So it's something to be aware of. But I know people that have tested with Writesonic through Grammarly and their plagiarism check, and that's come back clean every single time they tested it. But as with all of these things, it's always worth running anything like this through a plagiarism check, just to make sure you're not putting duplicate content out there, and then Google turns around and actually penalizes you for doing something like that. But they are a very useful tool, and Niches is getting a lot of really positive comments. I think primarily because it does come back with what I found not quite as good results as regularly as Writesonic, but the fact there's no credit system and you can use this as many times as you want. You can literally run it over and over again, add more content, run it over again, add more content, and you could build up a real big bank of content and just get rid of the stuff that you think is bump and work with the stuff that you can see that's actually pretty solid content. Really, really quite cool. Take a look at those because they are pretty good. I might actually do a video on how I actually utilize some of these tools to create things like landing page content and blog post ideas and things like that. I think this is something that I am adopting into my business moving forward for the purposes that I'm kind of talking about tonight. So if you're using any, let me know in the chat. Okay, Paul K, not a problem for being late. Glad you could make it. Okay, what else do we have? Jasmine, that's exactly what I need, but hope it's affordable, not money draining like others. Is it said good in grammar settings? To be honest, Writesonic has been pretty solid, if that's what we're still talking about, in everything that I've tried to use it for. I've been really, really impressed with it. It actually comes back with some pretty solid results. It just sounds like someone, as in someone, not artificial intelligence, has actually written the content, which I was quite blown away at. I honestly didn't expect it to be anywhere near as good. I think the one I had before was Copyscape. I think that's what it was, don't quote me. And I refunded that because I didn't find that was as good. It got some good reviews and things like that on AppSumo, but I just didn't find it was that solid results-wise. So I kind of refunded that, and then I hopped on Writesonic and grabbed that deal because I think that was a better one, and I've been really happy with the results on there. Okay, Steve Pro, just looking at Writesonic at the moment, looks good. the thing that I kind of look at is, A, if you've got a use for it, either now or you think you could use a tool like this in the future, with AppSumo, with the 60-day money back, if you try it and you think, it's just not as good as I thought, you've lost nothing other than a little bit of time. You get your money back pretty much within the space of a couple of hours, if not quicker. And I've never had a problem getting money back off there if I've refunded on anything that I've grabbed from there. So I always think that if you're interested, buy it, test it. If you don't like it, get your money back, or just get the credits back and then buy something else and test that. You know, you can do this as much as you kind of want to with it. It's one of the beautiful things about using AppSumo. Not every deal that they come up with is as good as it might seem, and not always as good as the feedback might lead you to believe, especially where positive reviews are incentivized, shall we say. And that's going on more and more and more when it comes to AppSumo. You know, you maybe buy into something and you'll get emails saying, oh, we'll give you X thousand extra somethings if you give us a good positive review on this website and AppSumo kind of thing. So when you see one that has a deal that has like 300 reviews on it within the space of 2 days, and they're all 1 or 2 deal purchases, which you can see, you know, at the top when their name is there, take it with a pinch of salt. You'll find that if you hang around AppSumo for any length of time, there are regulars that are on there that you can trust what they say, because they don't BS. They just tell it as it is. If it's a good product, they'll say it's a good product. If you get a bad review, there's usually a reason for that. But like I say, the 60-day money-back guarantee means that you've got nothing to lose by trying it out and everything to gain, potentially. So, yeah, Steve, what do we have? I was looking at niches the other day. Right Sonic looks better. May have to spend some money through your affiliate link, of course. Oh, you're a gentleman. I would say that from my point of view, I do prefer using Right Sonic at this point in time. It's more polished. It's a more professional product, looking-wise. But Niches gets a lot of great feedback, and there's a lot of great ways in which you can use it, which will lead me on in a moment to what I'm going to talk about in how you can combine this with other tools, you know, either for yourself or for maybe selling these services to clients and things. Heinrich, the other AI tool I bought was Bookmark, and that's still very disappointing. I've never tried Bookmark. I've never heard of it. And this is the thing. There's a lot of these AI tools coming out that are maybe not amazing. I think AI is definitely the buzzword and has been for probably the last 2 years. You know, if it's got AI, then it's going to be super, you know, intelligent. It's going to give you amazing results. It's going to be better than anything. And the reality of it is, most of the time, that's sort of crap. So, yeah. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about now, I'm going to try my screen again just to see if any magic has happened. Nope, we're just getting a black screen. Okay, one of the things that I found that is really useful is combining a couple of tools together. So what I tend to do is I use Right Sonic to potentially come up with content ideas and maybe even write some of the content. Excuse me, just plugging things in. And then I use a platform called Phrase with an F, Frase.io, I believe it is, which again I picked up on AppSumo. It's gone now. This went a little while back. And that has been a solid purchase. This is something, it's a research tool, it's a writing tool, it's a SEO checking tool, it's an optimization tool. It gives you all of these things in one location, which allows you to create a synopsis, an outline for a particular blog post, an article, a video idea, you know, any kind of thing like that. It'll look online for what it is that you want to create content on. Let's just say, for example, it was SEO, SEO analysis or something. It would then go and take a look at the top, say, 10 sites that rank for that term that you put in, give you all the links to those sites, including a breakdown of all the content on those pages. You can link through to those. You can literally dump either sentences, paragraphs, sections, or the entire article, page, whatever, directly into your synopsis, into your summary, into your research section, and you can reference that, and then you can use that to create content of your own and help you to create great looking content, great SEO ranking content. It'll show you a live sort of SEO result on there for your given keyword, key phrase, so on. And it just helps. When you combine that with a tool like Right Sonic or Niches or Conversion.ai, which can help you write even better content, you can combine the two of those to create something quite cool. And like I say, if writing isn't your strong point, this could be a combination of tools that really does open up a great way of working. You could even use this with another tool that I think is still on AppSumo, I think, is called Bloggly. Now, while its name suggests it's primarily for blogging, and it kind of is, it also has a lot of other really useful tools for being able to create written content, and research it and things like that. So you could combine all of these things together to get a really solid platform for creating and writing great content, helping you craft the words to make them a little bit more professional, a bit more polished, and then have articles that rank really, really well. These tools in combination, which is something that I've been experimenting with over the last couple of weeks, really can help you create some great content to get you up the rankings in Google, to create, interesting things that people actually want to read about. They help you formalize a article structure that will be something that helps people out. So maybe check those out if you've got access to those. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so let's have a little look at some of the other things to people are saying. Back on your AI and glassmorphic. I have no idea. Let's have a little look. What is this? Does anyone know if there's a live streaming tutorial by me? It would be awesome to have one. No, there's not. But what do you mean by live streaming? The kind of equipment that I use, or how I set things up, how I operate things, how I run things? Let me know in the comment section and I'll answer your question if I can, Moises. Okay, Steve, Bloggly is still on AppSumo, $79 lifetime. Yeah. And the developer who the last time I mentioned Bloggly on a live stream actually popped into the live stream to say thank you for mentioning Bloggly on there. So he's a very active developer. I think he's a one-man development team. He's a very active developer, passionate about the project, really active in adding features that people want to see in there. So again, it's another one of the things. No links in the description. Just do a search for Bloggly over on AppSumo. I think it's on the marketplace, and like Steve says, I think it's $79, something like that, for the lifetime, or starts at $79. I have no idea. I can't remember. But check it out. It might be something you'd be interested in taking a look at. Imran, thank you for my tutorial. I don't even drink at the moment. Thank you for my tutorials, your tutorials. My pleasure, no problem at all. Excuse the crackling bottle. Okay, so these are some of the things I wanted to talk about tonight. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, which I probably have already covered, but we'll have a look anyway. How I use it in my business today. So, this is, I kind of just touched upon this, what I wanted to talk about with it, but it kind of, when I talk about my business, I'm kind of talking more about my YouTube business at this point in time, but that doesn't detract from the fact that you could easily use this in a web design, freelance, small business, agency, whatever you kind of want to do. You could use these tools to sell services to your clients or potential clients. If you don't do Google ads and Facebook ads at this point in time, it's something you've been thinking of getting into, but you kind of feel, maybe I'm a little bit weak in writing the copy for this to create something that would be eye-catching, that would grab attention and make people purchase or follow the link or whatever it is, then maybe a tool like this could help you fill the gap that you feel you're weak in, and then you could take your technical skills of being able to manage Google or Facebook ads, being able to deal with all that side of things, track it, monitor it, and then give value to your client. Maybe that's something to take a look at doing. Maybe that's a way of working that would open up another revenue stream inside your business or freelancing. And again, the same kind of thing goes for actual content writing. Let's just say, for example, you have a business that sells, I don't know, roof boxes for vehicles, for camping and those kinds of things. Well, you could create a listicle, you could create and flesh out the information there, you could create the descriptions for the products. If you've got a client that doesn't really know that too well, or they're not great at it, and again, maybe English isn't their first language, a tool like AI like this could be something that could speed up the process, make it financially viable for you to invest the time in, or even outsource it to someone else where you could pay them less money because it's a less of a skilled job, but use these tools as the backbone to create and sell those services. So is this something you could see yourself doing? Would this add value to your business? If you could you see yourself using tools like this? Or would this give you the incentive to think, actually, I've got some clients that really could benefit from me doing that kind of thing for them, I'm going to go ahead and contact some of them. And if there's interest there, I'll grab some of these tools and try it. Let me know in the chat, because I'd love to know if this is something you think you could get into, and if you could, how you could utilize these tools. Okay, so I'm going to answer Moises' question. I'd like to know how you run things on Wirecast or OBS, but now that you ask, all the areas. I don't use either of those. I actually use Ecamm Live. That's one of the reasons why I invested in buying, swapping over to Macs as my kind of main computer, because one of the things I want to do was up the game on the live streams and get into using Ecamm Live, because it just opens up a ton of options. And I use an A10 Mini to switch cameras, and I use a Stream Deck to display all the bits and pieces, like, you know, like today, this is a smooth thing. Today's sponsor, see how smooth that was, is Crockablock. If you've never used Crockablock, they offer a range of incredibly powerful plugins, as well as some themes and other tools, primarily for Elementor, but also in a range of different ways you can use different tools with Gutenberg. So if you want to create more powerful WordPress websites and you want to get into dynamic content and all those kinds of good things that you know that I cover on this channel, then take a look at crockablock.com, and also check out the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, for the recent videos that I've done deep diving into Jet Engine, showing you how to create some incredibly powerful, feature-rich websites using dynamic content, and focusing primarily on using Jet Engine, Jet Smart Filters, and Jet Search from Crockablock. That was a smooth transition. Okay. I don't know if I'm a pro, but I'd like to think that the live streams are considerably better now than they were to start off with. Although, can anyone let me know, is it getting a little dark on the live stream? Because it's kind of that awkward time when it comes to the UK. It's sort of 6:30 in the evening. I've got a big bay window behind me, and I've got very big hands now if I do that. I've got a big bay window behind me, which gives me decent light, and a light but there. But obviously it's starting to get darker. And when we start the live stream, it's a little bit lighter at this time of year. So if this is a bit dark, let me know, and I'll just pause the live stream, as it were, and just make things a little bit brighter, if that makes things a little bit easier. Okay, thank you very much, Steve. I think that was one of my smoothest segues into a sponsor segment that I've ever done. So, pretty cool, I think we should say. Okie dokie. So, first of all, we've covered those kinds of things. So, now I've said what I wanted to say, I'm going to open the floor to you guys tonight. Let me know what you want to know about. Let's have the little Q&A. So let me just do my little Q&A session. Another smooth segue. Okay, so this is the Q&A section. Now, this is one of those things that tonight's live stream probably isn't going to be as long as some of the other ones, where we've kind of covered so many different things for like 2 hours long, and we probably could have talked for another 2 hours after that. Tonight, I've got obligations that I have to do, so I've got to finish on time. So let's have a little look. Strahinia, I could use these tools in my affiliate business. Interesting tools for writing ideas and blogging. Absolutely. This is my point. I think if you can take these tools and you can use them creatively, they can help you open up other avenues for creating revenue streams. And especially if you're currently working a job and you're thinking you want to have a little sort of side gig, something to make a little bit of side income, but you're not too sure, you don't have the time to build entire websites potentially for clients, but you still like to get into the creative side of things, then maybe these tools could help out doing that. You know, helping people, if they struggle for ideas for blog content, you could sell them ideas. You could come up with ideas for them. You could even write parts of it for them, outlines, you know, these kinds of things. There are tools out there now that allow you to do so many things that you could hand off to a client. Or you could even outsource these to writers, and you give them a full breakdown outline of exactly what you want in the order you want it, including research articles and so on. And that makes the whole process then of getting someone else that you have to pay to write them to do it a lot quicker, because you're giving them all of the research, all of the tools they need. They just literally have to absorb it, write it out based upon the structure that you've come up with, using AI tools, using tools like Phrase, using things like that. I think it's a great way of being able to open up side hustles, open up other avenues for income streams and things like that. So something I think is pretty useful. So have a little look. Richard Wade, running a little late, but I'm here. Well, I think the beers are on you then if I was drinking beer tonight. Other than that, okay. Okay, let's just DevLoop. How can we handle clients professionally? I'm not too sure what you mean by that. By handle clients professionally, I mean, do you mean professionally as in they are paying you, or professionally as in the manner in which you deal with them? Two very, very different things, in my opinion. So let me know which of those two you kind of are sort of leaning towards, and I'll try my best to answer them. Michael Wright, Elementor Free 3.2, another bleep of a release, it seems. I've got to be honest, I've kind of got a little bit fed up with the whole debacle that is updating Elementor, and has been since version 3 kind of came out. I kind of, how can I say, I'm a little less enthusiastic about it these days, primarily because it just seems like there's no end of frustration surrounding it that we just don't need to be dealing with. And I know the standard answer is probably going to be it's more than likely another plugin that's the problem, and those kinds of things. And in a lot of ways that probably is the case, but the reality is it's 9 times out of 10 Elementor the one that falls over, and not the plugin that might be causing the problem, which means that it's just a pain in the behind to fault find and just deal with all that sort of thing. So I haven't kept up, if I'm honest, Michael, with 3.2 and what the current state of play is. But yeah, I can appreciate that probably is something that's a real situation for a lot of people. The other thing I wanted to just bring to your attention, if you haven't already seen it, is if you're not a member of the WP Tuts Facebook group, you can check that out using the link you can see on screen right now. Become a member of this, sign up, totally free, doesn't cost you anything. Great community of amazing people, a lot of which are actually in the chat tonight. So, but I've put a sort of a link inside there for current security issues when it comes to WordPress plugins and so on. And I think because of the security issue that there was recently with Elementor, which I believe was it was an XSS vulnerability, I think, then it looks like a lot of plugins are also suffering from that Elementor-based plugins, and there's a long list of plugins inside there from a lot of big companies, and I'm sure lots of people are using those. So if you're not a member of the Facebook group, join that up to there and go and take a little look at it. If not, just do a search for Elementor plugin vulnerabilities April 2021, and I'm sure you'll come across several articles. I think iTheme Security will probably have one. Have a look on there and just make sure that your plugins, if they're in that list, are up to date. And the same goes for Elementor Core, whether it's free or pro. I can't remember which one had the problem, or if it's both. Just make sure you're up to date so you don't end up with security vulnerabilities and have problems and your site get hacked. So please just check those out. Let me just go back to... Okay, so let me just go back to Dev. Professionally, how to deal with them as how to deal in a matter of paying. Well, I'll answer the question... I'll do it quite quickly because I think we've kind of covered this in other live streams when it comes to pay-in. I think we covered it in the last live stream, actually, because I know one of the regulars that's in tonight had a bit of an issue with a client not paying, which hopefully has been rectified. So let us know. When it comes to pay-in, if it's a client, 50% deposit before you do any work. I mean anything. Submit the proposal, and that's where it ends until 50% is paid upfront. Then it's up to you if you want to do 50% prior to launch, or if it's a bigger project, then I would have deliverable points within that project that when you hit those markers, they pay another percentage. So it could be 50% deposit, 20%, 20%, and then 10% before you launch. And never launch the site until you've had the full payment and everything is in your bank account and settled. That's how I would always deal with it. And if people don't want to do that, then you probably don't want to work with them, because chances are they're going to be a bit of a pain and not want to pay up when you want them to pay up. So hopefully that'll answer your question. Sorry about the crackly bottle, they're just a bit of a nightmare. Richard, I'm getting fed up with Elementor, but still the most robust builder at the moment. I think that's the key thing. At the moment, I think there's a lot of people are getting frustrated. And I don't want to make this another Elementor video, live video, because there's more than enough of those on the live streams. But I think this is the thing. I think people are losing faith. And once people lose faith, it's very, very hard to get them back. And I think this is something that is happening with these very, very frequent issues with the vulnerability that I think came out recently. And correct me if I'm wrong, that there was a vulnerability recently in Elementor version 3 point something. I didn't dream that, did I? Let me know. But once people lose faith, once they lose trust, you basically lost that client, that customer, and it's a lot harder to get them back. So, you know, I think this is the difficult thing. They need to be very, very careful in how they're dealing with things. Let's have a little look. The funny thing is, there's the compatibility warning that says that Elementor Pro hasn't been tested with version of Elementor. There's an irony there, I'm sure, isn't there? Michael, I thought it was you from we were talking about the one not playing up. I know the client is still not paid up. It's a hard one. It's a difficult one. So again, like I said the last time in this live stream, I really hope they do pay up and they pull their fingers out of their proverbial and pay up for what you've done for them. Steve Pro, iThemes list 22 vulnerabilities at the moment. Exactly. And a lot of those, I believe, are Elementor plugin based issues. So it's worth bearing that in mind if you are using Elementor and a range of plugins. So make sure you are up to date with all of those. Well, he says, Elementor 3, there's no end to frustration around it. Get it today, lol. Yeah, I think that's the problem, is that there is a lot of frustration around it at the moment. And this has been going on for quite a while. And like I say, it's not helping their cause in keeping loyal customers on board. That's the key. You know, there's only so many times you can find a new customer, and a new customer costs a lot more money to find and convert into a customer than it does to keep a loyal customer loyal. Once you lose those, you know where I'm going with that. Okay, what do we have? No reaction. What do you think about the integration of header and footer into the Hello theme? I don't really have any strong feelings, but I think Elle's brought up a very, very good point on the Facebook group, that the whole point of the Hello theme is just meant to be very lightweight, that just gets out of the way, keeps WordPress happy, and lets you build what you want inside inside Elementor Pro, or with some plugins like Header and Footer Builder, I think from Brainstorm Force, which does have that vulnerability. So make sure you update that if you're using it. That to me is the better way of going about it, because once you start to add things like header and footer builders into the theme that's supposed to be just getting out the way to let you build your own headers and footers in the page builder, you kind of defeat the point of having a bare bones, stripped back, pretty much nothing theme. You start to add bloat to it. Take it out, just leave it for what it is, which is a blank theme that keeps WordPress happy and lets you build whatever the heck you want. That to me is a much better way of going about it. But as we've seen, I think Elementor knows best. Yeah. Okay. Jasmine, don't be scared. You bought Elementor Pro 3.2.1. As we say, Elementor is still a solid proposition. I just think they just need to sort things out a little bit better, or for whatever the cause is. However the cause is coming in, however it is manifesting itself, it's still Elementor's the one that falls over, or there's not enough resources to get Elementor loading in, or or any of these different things that we see, the sort of white screen, the spinning wheel, go into safe mode, all this kind of stuff. It's frustrating. I mean, I've updated sites, and you go, site was working perfectly. You log in, you want to edit a page for a client 6 months after you did a pile of updates, and 3 months since you did the last Elementor update, whatever, and you go in there and go, right, I'm going to quickly make this change, and you go in and you open it up, and it won't load. You just get a little green bar going across the top for literally like 2 minutes, and then it's like open in safe mode, and then when you open in safe mode, you can't do anything anyway. These are things that just lead to incredible frustration when it comes to working with a tool. I just honestly think if it keeps going this way, people are going to be jumping ship left, right, and center. You can already see there are certain influencers in the WordPress space that are moving away from using it. That says something, okay? That's the thing you kind of have to consider, is that if you've got influencers moving away from what is the number one product, there's a reason. Yes, sometimes it can be about the money behind it and the affiliates and all those kinds of things, as we've seen and many people have talked about in the past. But it's still a concern when that happens. And, look at everything that goes on around. Forget about looking in the Elementor group, because we know that you've got, and this isn't specific to Elementor group, there's lots and lots of different groups out there that are exactly the same as this. If anybody comes up with a derisive comment about that product, there's fanboys and fangirls that jump on them, and it's always someone else's fault. It's always something else's fault. Or if you bring up and you talk about an alternative product, the posts are removed, the comments are removed, those kinds of things. That's a concern. It really is a concern. It pulls up red flags for me big time, and it makes me lose faith, because I understand where you've got places that are specific to helping other people within a particular ecosystem. I know, and all these different page builders have ecosystems. But when you stop free speech, and I'm talking, proper free speech, not insults, not people being derogative or any of those kinds of things, derogatory, I should say. You help people lose faith in you. You're kind of censoring what people can talk about, and that word gets around. You might think that you're sort of stamping out a problem, but those people are in other groups. They're in other places. They're on Twitter. They're in different groups in Facebook, and different things like Reddit and so on. And they will be vocal about the fact that they've been censored. They will. This is a difficult situation. This is why you have to be balanced and unbiased, and you have to be careful in what you take off and what you let go into any of these groups. But I've sidetracked there. I'm just sort of giving you my opinions kind of thing and my thoughts on it. But what do you think? I mean, have you seen these kind of actions and reactions taking place? Have they made you change your opinion about any of the kind of themes, plugins, tools, page builders, those kinds of things in general? Let me know, as always, in the chat, because I'd love to know how you find it. I'd love to know how you gauge how you feel about a product, how you feel about a service, if it's part to do with when you have problems with it, especially if they have problems over and over again all the time, or when you kind of see how things are handled, how things are censored or removed, or conversations are not allowed, those kinds of things. Let me know. Anyway, I'm going to go back to a couple of comments inside here. Okay, let's have a little look back into where I was. And lots of Elementor add-ons included in the report. Exactly, Steve. There are lots inside that security report. So please, like I say, make sure you update and take a look at that. Just do a search, like I say, on iThemes for security vulnerabilities, April 2021. Should come back with a big list of those for you. Paul K, getting used to leaving any updates on Elementor for at least a month after they put out a new release, and I seem to have avoided any issues, although I did see the message, as Michael says. Again, this is one of those things that I think that's people's takeaway from it, is that I'm not going to update that until there's at least a couple of interim updates. 3.3, then it'll be 3.31, 3.32, 3.33, and it's like by the time it gets to about 3.35, then I'll generally go, okay, maybe they've ironed out some of those bugs, and I'll try it. But this is where a tool like WP Vivid Backup Pro, the paid for version, kind of comes in. Not to sell it, but you can set that up so whenever a plugin is updated, it'll do an incremental backup to a remote location or onto the server itself. So if something goes wrong, you can literally just put that plugin back. You can reinstate that plugin from its pre-updated stage straight back into your site and get back online quickly. That's something that I've found personally has been incredibly invaluable and really does make me feel a lot more comfortable about doing updates to some things that I would generally not want to update straight away, or where I've got 10 updates that have all kind of come out because they've got like a knock-on effect. Then I'll update those knowing that if anything goes wrong, I've got a backup of those, and obviously I've got a daily backup and a weekly backup and a monthly backup for these sites. But just knowing that if I update a plugin and the plugin falls apart and it causes a problem or a theme or something, I can just quickly get those back onto the site, probably within seconds, if not a minute or two, and get everything back up. And then I can take a look at what the problem was on a staging site or something when I've got a little bit more time. So check that out if you haven't already. It is incredibly useful. And I think If you look on, it's not going to be on this video, but if you look on any of my other videos recently, there's a link in there to Vivid Backup Pro, and I believe there's an exclusive 20 or 30% discount on there, and you can get a lifetime deal for X number of sites, which is what I grabbed probably about 18 months ago. And it saved my bacon many times and just gives me peace of mind knowing that if anything goes wrong, I've got an incremental backup of just the plugins. Richard, I missed out what you were saying about AI, but I've been dabbling with Jarvis Conversion AI lately to help flesh out some content I've been writing. It's good stuff. Conversion AI, or like you say, Jarvis, has definitely got a really good, solid reputation for creating some great content. But what we were talking about earlier on, Richard, and the links for this are in the description, is check out over on AppSumo for lifetime deals, Niches with 3 S's, and Right Sonic, which are currently on there as well. And I think they're something like, they're about $59 each. And I've got both of them. And personally, I think Right Sonic is slightly better. It edges ahead, but that uses a credit system, whereas Niches is using no credit system whatsoever. You can just use it as much as you want. But I found the results are not necessarily as good, and the interface itself isn't quite as polished. But the results can be pretty solid. So have a look at those. Might be worth checking out, because I know that Conversion AI isn't the cheapest, but it is very, very good. Okay, I have no possibility of saying your name on this, so I do apologize. I switched from Elementor Pro to Oxygen Builder several months ago, and I'm super happy with Oxygen. And this is a message that comes up time and time and time and time again, and has done, I think, since version 3 of Elementor was released. Lots of people have jumped over to Oxygen, and I know a lot of people are loving what you can do with it. So pretty solid from what I'm seeing there. And again, it's one of those things that I really need to go back and do some more content on. And I will be doing something to do with Grid Builder WP, or WP Grid Builder, alongside Oxygen very soon. So keep an eye out for that. Sorry, I hope your keyboard is okay. I do apologize for that, Michael, but yeah, okay. No reaction. Thank you. Exactly what a lot of people like me think as well. I think that's the point. Paul K, I'm drinking Brewdog Tropical Hops Pilsner, and it's great. Just rub it in. You just all rub it in. I'll go back to my drinking my flavored water. And try not to make a noise with the bottle. Esther, good to see you this evening. Glad you could join us. One of my first Elementor sites didn't have the theme builder, but it designed the header and footer in the custom-built theme. To this day, it's the fastest website I made, the best page score, no bugs. I can't say there's anything wrong with that at all. I think a lot of people have said that the header and footer builder, when it comes to using Elementor, or maybe other page builders, I don't know. I'm trying to be very PC here. Are not always the best way of going about doing things. And I got to be honest, when I first started out doing websites using like Ocean WP and that, I liked their header and footer options, that you could create your own templates kind of thing, using whatever you wanted, even just the tools inside Ocean WP itself. I liked how quick you could build headers in there and not have to worry about them. That was prior to Elementor even having header and footer builders. Excuse me. And I really like what you can do with the Bloxy theme. The header and footer builder is super quick in there. So there are benefits to doing things like this, because what some people are doing is they'll create their homepage using something like a theme, like, for example, like Bloxy or Generate Pressure, those kinds of things. They'll create their homepage inside there using maybe Gutenberg or something, or just, you know, a really simplistic, fast-loading page. They'll have Elementor installed, but they'll then only use that on the pages that they need to have the Elementor builder to work with. And the other page, like the homepage, which you want to get the best score, the best score on Google page speed and those kinds of things, doesn't have Elementor. And then obviously you can just strip out all the links and stuff like that are probably automatically loaded into the Elementor JavaScript, CSS, those kinds of things. So there's ways in which you can do that kind of thing, you know, where you can combine them. But I will be honest, the new WP Tuts website, when I get around to actually finishing that, will not be using Elementor at all. It is literally Bloxy and some, what am I using? Stackable. I'm using the pro version of Stack. Actually, I might be using the free version of Stackable. Stackable is the one that I'm using to do most of the layout, because I just kind of feel that one gels really nicely. And I'm also using Cadence blocks as well, because that gives you some nice control options. And that page is loading in less than a second. It's scoring almost 100, I think, across the board for most cases. And I tested it out on Google PageSpeed the other day with a little bit of tweaking, and that was giving me, I think I got 98 on mobile or 97 on mobile, 98 on desktop, which I think are pretty respectable results. And there's still quite a few images and things on there, so that's pretty cool. You know, there's options out there. Okay. Try Webflow or Oxygen. You will improve your coding skills a lot if you use them, but you won't if you stick to Elementor or Divi, etc. Yep, you do definitely have to learn a lot more when it comes to working with things like that. Not necessarily having a deep knowledge of coding or even needing to worry too much about coding, but if you've got a solid understanding of how CSS works and how HTML is structured, you can really speed up your development and workflow using tools like Webflow and Oxygen. They are great platforms. And as you know, I've been looking at Oxygen this year. I've done a couple of videos, I think 3 or 4 videos on Oxygen this year. I will be doing more. And I will also be taking a look at Webflow because they do kind of have a lot of similarities between them. And I think Bricks is another one that we've kind of looked at that I think has potential. Talking to Thomas, who's the lead behind that, I believe, there's a couple of things that I've talked about, some suggestions to do with loops, to do with ACF meta fields going into the built-in loop that's part of Bricks itself. I think they're going to be bringing more functionality to that and also bringing a loop builder functionality a little later down the line, still in version 1. So I'm really excited to see where that goes, because I think if they can do that, give you the ability to do that, you could very easily start using that with like Metabox, with ACF, with any of those kinds of tools, and very quickly create fast loading, really flexible listing websites quite easily. So kind of excited to see where that goes. Okay, Anna. I'm very sad about Elementor because I've been training myself now for the last 2 years to become an expert. Several sites. Hope they can get their act together soon because I need to move my mindset over to maybe Cadence or something equivalent. So sad. I will leave it there. I'm not going to say any more about it because I think the sentiment is the same for a lot of people. They do feel like they've invested a lot of time and effort, especially if you have a business. I mean, if you have a business, chances are you're using a tool like Elementor to build the websites for your clients. It's not easy to swap systems to something completely different when you've got, even just 10 clients. That's still a lot to swap over or to maintain those while you move over to another system and then wait for them to get to the point where they want to redesign, and then you move them over to a different system. Maybe something like Gutenberg, maybe Oxygen, maybe Bricks or something. So I think the sentiment there is definitely, get the bloody act together. If they can get their act together, then there's still plenty of space for it to move forward. But I just do think a lot of people have lost faith. And I think that's a sad thing to see because they were great to start off with. They really were a great platform. It was one of the first video I did was probably about 4.5 years ago now on Elementor, before Pro even came out. And I can see the potential in it then compared to a lot of the things that are on the market. But I just think they let themselves down a little bit over the last 6 to 8 months with the updates they pushed out, the features they've pushed out, which I don't think are key or important, at the expense of the ones that I think a lot of people do think are important. Shiny syndrome is all well and good, but keep the people that actually pay you every single year, that have been with you, supporting you from the beginning, and not go chasing all the new ones and competing just on shiny things. I just think it's not the way to go about doing it. Anyway, what else do we have here? Good evening, Bangladesh, and thank you very much for joining in to the live stream tonight. Great to have you here. As always, like I say though, if you're in the live stream tonight and you are new, put hashtag new into the chat, and I will just do a little call out to all the new people as we get a few more in. So please do that, hashtag new, and let me know in the chat section. Okay, Andrew, caution before updating is the name of the game. Damn straight it is. Backing up before you update, making sure you've got incremental backups, all these different kinds of things, they are the key, most important thing when you're backing up with anything, not just Elementor, any of the tools you can use. Just make sure you've got backups in place that if anything goes wrong, you've got yourself covered and sorted. You can get things back online as quick as possible. What we got? No reaction. Rollback backups with WP Vivid is very handy, but I prefer testing updates on a staging site before doing them on a live site. If you've only got a couple of sites, then I would agree that is a great way of doing it. But when you've got maybe 50 sites, 60 sites, it becomes an unrealistic way of working to be able to do a staging site for every single one of those to test out before you do it. You spend a week doing that. So this is where it just comes in handy being able to just know that if something goes wrong, as always, I wouldn't generally tend to do it with something that's important and key like a WooCommerce update, because WooCommerce is a big update. There's a database update. There's all those kinds of things. So I would generally run a full backup prior to that before doing anything, and then maybe even take a look at a staging site. But it's still, you have to weigh up the chances of something falling over and causing a problem, and then having to reinstall it, or get it back up from a backup and get it back online while you then worry about a staging site, as opposed to always doing on a staging site. I would say you have to weigh up the pros and cons of both and the time investment for both and the number of sites you have to run those updates on. So, but we all work in different ways, and that's the beauty of having a different approach to all these different things. We can work in the best way possible for ourselves and our clients. Okay, sad to hear no LTD on WP Vivid. That's a shame, because it was going for quite some time, which is a shame because it's a great deal. Okay, Kenneth, what about Webflow? Webflow, solid platform. I think there are limitations to what you can do with it. If you want to create a sort of typical website, a CMS, or a online shopping experience, then yes, it's a solid platform. But if you want to have something that's a little bit more unique, a little bit more professional, bespoke, then Webflow is definitely out of the equation. But as I've said in past live streams, it comes down to one key, most important thing, and that is choosing the right platform for the client, for the job, for the project, and then using that to build it. If Webflow is the right tool, use Webflow. If Oxygen is the right tool, use Oxygen. That's the way I always kind of look at it. Use the right tools for the right job for the client to fulfill their needs. But Webflow, great platform. Let's have a look. Anna, have I tried out Cadence very much? Honest answer, no. I tried it originally. I didn't really think it was that interesting. I didn't like it too much. And then everybody kind of just jumped on the Cadence bandwagon. And if I'm honest, I just thought there's no point in me wading into that because everybody's covered all that kind of thing. I wasn't that enamored by it anyway. I preferred Bloxy, and that's kind of why I can't say I've championed Bloxy. I don't champion any of these kinds of things. But it's why I've created content on Bloxy, because I like the development team behind it. I like their honesty. I like their openness about things. I like the theme itself, and I like the tools it offers. Even the free version is insanely powerful. So for me, Bloxy is the one I would choose. And if I was weighing up between Cadence and Bloxy, the fact that Cadence has now been bought out, I would go for Bloxy, mainly. Now, who exactly bought out Cadence? Refresh my memory on that if you don't mind. Who is it that bought Cadence? Richard, I'm afraid you're going to have to leave the stream. I'm just about to hit the ban button on you because you tried Brewdog recently and you're not keen. I'm disappointed in you. I really am disappointed. You're late and you don't like Brewdog. There's no hope for you. There's no hope, I'm afraid. No hope. Marco, big hello from me. Do you have an advice for best way of API connection between WooCommerce and any other e-commerce shops? No, I'm afraid I don't. It's not something that I've kind of looked into too much, but I am going to be taking a look at how to use APIs in a little bit more detail very, very soon. So keep an eye out, and maybe one of those things is I'll take a look at how we can use that alongside using e-commerce and those kinds of things. But at this point in time, I haven't got any experience of that, I'm afraid. Not that I would want to sort of steer you in the wrong direction. But if anybody in the chat has got experience, pop some links, put some feedback in there, help Marco out. It would be absolutely fantastic if you could. Stratos, comparing what Elementor did in V3 and what Oxygen released in V3. I haven't really taken too much of a look at it, so I'm probably not the right person to sort of comment on that side of things. Yeah, but I think the way that Oxygen are approaching their updates, they've been a lot more cautious about releasing key features into the wild, which I think is a good thing. But then they have a smaller user base compared to the X number of million that Elementor have. So it's probably easier when you have a smaller user base over where you have a massive user base like Elementor currently has. So, yeah. Michael, you better start drinking again soon. Not that Wales is open again. We might be able to come visit you in the summer for the crew meetup. Hey, that sounds good. But the pubs do open here next Monday, and I think we're probably going to have a table booked for next Monday evening. So, yay. Okay. Exactly. You are now expelled from the group. Just kidding, mate. What one did you try? There's plenty of them out there. Try. There's more. Try more, Rich. That's it. I thought it was iThemes. Thanks, Kenneth. I thought it was iThemes that bought it. I wonder why. I'm kind of surprised why iThemes wanted to buy a theme. And then I suppose at the end of the day, it's probably in the name, isn't it, really? iThemes. Okay. Tech. I'm Indian. I'm Welsh. Awesome. What do you use for dynamic content with Gutenberg? At this point in time, I would say the easiest way of working is going to be using a tool like, well, to be honest, Bricks is quite good. You can use that for dynamic content. Jet Engine will allow you to do dynamic content with Gutenberg. I believe that, what's the name of it? I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. Stackable. I think Stackable is looking at getting into some dynamic content. I also believe that Generate Press is also looking at dynamic content, I think. The theme itself. But Gutenberg, unless you want to get in and create, or you're comfortable enough getting into the code and creating things using something like, advanced custom fields, or using MetaBox, which have good links with blocks and block building with regards to working with Gutenberg. They're the kind of tools you're going to be using. And I will be taking a look at how you can do that when I get the opportunity to sit down and work a little bit more with MetaBox. But this week I've been focusing primarily on my webinar, creating all the content for that. And last week was very much about creating and finishing off that massive tutorial on building the real estate site with Jet Engine. So I will be taking a look at how you can create more dynamic content with Gutenberg. But at the moment, I think the tools are pretty slim. There's not as many out there. They're not as straightforward. I'm hoping we get more tools that allow us to get more creative using Gutenberg with dynamic content, with tools like, ACF, those kinds of things. Toolset at the moment is definitely the one that's got the closest integration into it. So Toolset would probably be the one you'd want to use if that's where you want to go. And again, it's one of those things that I purchased a license for this. I just haven't got the time to sit down, learn it, get comfortable with it, and then start creating content. But again, it's one of those things I do want to try to do to show how we can remove our reliance from page builders and move over a little bit more into using Gutenberg. As much as we don't like it, it's unfortunately it's going to be the way forward when it comes to WordPress unless something drastic changes, which I don't see anytime soon. So those are the kinds of options you kind of have. Stavros, what was the main point about Elementor? I think we kind of got sidetracked a little bit into the recent update for Elementor 3.2.1 and how that was a bit of a cock-up and there were problems with that. I think that's what Michael brought up. So I think that's the reason why we kind of went on to talking about Elementor. Okay, so let's have a little look. Let's just do a little search for that hashtag. Let me just find hashtag on your new. So, Eddie Hallahan, hope I said that correct. Good evening and welcome to the live stream. I hope you're enjoying it and glad to be involved. Sean, again, glad to see you here. Hopefully you can become a regular and join us every 2 weeks on the next live stream. And I have no chance of pronouncing this name, so I'm just going to put it on screen and say thank you very much for joining in tonight. Great to see you here. Darlene, great to see you in as well. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day, your evening, and joining in. Manish, same goes to you. Thank you very much for joining in. And Darlene, again, because you put a hashtag new in there twice, so you get 2 mentions tonight, so thank you very much. Now, if anybody else is new in tonight, please do pop in that hashtag new so I can just give you a shout out and just say thank you for getting involved and joining in tonight. Okay, we're going to have a couple more questions and then we're going to kind of call it a night because I'm quite conscious of the fact that we're already overrunning the 1 hour that we always sort of plan for and then never actually get there. Okay, let me just find out. Oh, I've gone all the way to the top now, so bear with me and I'll go all the way to the bottom now for the comments. Right, where are we? Okay, Marco, we'll keep the lives when lockdowns are over. Yes, all the lives are kept on there. If you just take a look on the channel, there's two playlists, the Lockdown Live Season 1 and the Lockdown Live Season 2, which is what we're currently on at the moment. So they are all in the playlists. There's playlists on the channel, so you can check those out. Now, we've got 70 people in so far live at the moment. If you're here and you're enjoying what we're doing, give the video a thumbs up. It helps YouTube realize that we actually create great content, we enjoy having a conversation, and you enjoy what we're doing. So please do give it a thumbs up so we can get YouTube to recognize the fact that you like the live streams. Okay, let's have a little look. ACF plus toolset plugin. No, toolset plugin on its own, I would say, Sean. Toolset is basically like ACF. It's a very similar kind of thing with the added benefit that it has. Well, let's have a look. It's got all the meta fields, it's got custom post types, it's got views, it's got archive building tools, it's got search tools and filtering tools. It's basically everything you need in one package. Just the learning curve is a little bit steeper, because it doesn't kind of integrate in the same level. There is integration with Elementor, but doesn't integrate at the same level with a lot of page builders. It's kind of gone down the Gutenberg route. I think that's probably why it's not always adopted as heavily as tools like ACF, Jet Engine, Metabox, those kinds of things. But it is a very solid tool. Okay, let's have a little look. Toolset is looking pretty interesting. Honestly, Sean, I would say if you're interested in this kind of thing and you enjoy, dynamic content and you want to go down the Gutenberg route, then for the money it costs, which I believe, don't quote me on this one, but I think for a single site license, which is enough to get you started to test things out, I think it was something like $40 for the year. So it's not a massive investment. Everything's relative, I know. But it wasn't a huge investment. You're talking hundreds of dollars to get in on this and see what you kind of think of this platform, whether you think it's something you would want. So I would say, have a look, give it a try. I think it's quite useful. Milosh, I always said that correctly. What do you think about App My Site? Is it worth the invest money and time to build apps with that tool? I haven't tried it. I was interested in it, and then I took a look at some of the feedback on it when it came to build, sort of using it with sites for WordPress. And I think if you want to create something simple, my understanding, like I said, this is not from testing it, so I don't know if how correct this is. But if you want to create an app for a simple-ish site, it should work okay. But from what my understanding is, if you want more complex sites with dynamic data, with e-commerce, those kinds of things, not necessarily the best. It's kind of more geared towards quite simple results. So you pay your money, you take your choice, you test it. But like I say, with AppSumo, 60-day money back. So if you thought, actually, I want to give it a try, you could try it. If you didn't like it, it didn't do what you wanted to do, you could refund on it with no problem at all. So if you do, though, let me know in the comment section, or if you're not a member of the Facebook group, head over to the link you can see on screen there, join into the Facebook group, and let me know in there what you think of it, because I'd like to know. And if the tools actually work out quite good, I've got no problem purchasing a license on those and taking them for a test drive, and then maybe creating content on those. Okay, let's scroll down, take a look at a couple more comments. WP Tasker, the $1 million question. Do we need to get Metabox if we already own Crocoblock? $1 million question? No, you don't. Simple fact is, they do similar things, but if you want to have a system that is not restricted to either working with Gutenberg or Elementor, then Metabox is a viable option. Unfortunately, the lifetime deal is now gone off AppSumo, so you can't benefit from that. So you will be buying an annual license unless they bring that back for some reason. But you don't need it, no. If you're comfortable working with Jet Engine and you want to keep on working with Elementor, that to me is a pretty solid combination. If you want to have something that allows you to work with more things like Beaver Builder, don't think it works with Divi. I think it's Beaver Builder, Elementor, Gutenberg, and obviously, code it yourself kind of thing, then Metabox is a viable option. Just depends which plan you get, because like the lower plans don't have all the features, I don't believe, or they didn't on AppSumo anyway. They might be different if you buy direct from the website. But from my experience with it so far, it's pretty solid. If you've ever used something like ACF or Pods, it's really, really quite easy to get started with it. It's got a lot of unique features to it. So it's worth checking out, definitely. And like I said, I don't think the investment is huge for a single license. Might be worthwhile trying out and see what you think. I did a video on it recently on using it with Elementor. So you might want to check that out and take a little look at it so you get a bit of a heads up. But there's lots and lots of videos on YouTube showing you how to use it with various different tools. Maybe take a look at some of those and see what you think of it, and if it does some things that you want that currently Jet Engine may not do. Okay. Okay. We're going to do 2 more questions and then we're going to call it an evening. Election special stream in 2 weeks. There's an election? Who's that for? Let me know. I have no idea. Well, we'll have a live stream in 2 weeks anyway. Always do. Okay. Metabox is currently offering a special, so did not want to miss out if Crocoblock is not sufficient. Are they? Let me have a little look at that. Let me just have a little squiz, see if they're still doing it. Because I know that it's, well, I say that, it's kind of gone off AppSumo unless you are one of the sort of briefcase things, I think it is. Otherwise, you've lost that side of things there. So what do we have? Oh yeah, lifetime bundle, $4.99 instead of $2,250. That's a lot of money. That's a heck of a lot of money. For me, I think the investment, $99, that's a lot of money to get in with. I suppose you do get unlimited sites, so not actually that bad. But yeah, they are offering a lifetime deal, but it's whether you want to invest like $500 in that lifetime deal right now. If you do, use my affiliate link. Just joking. Okay, Stratos. ACF versus Metabox versus Crocoblock. What's your opinion? Oh man. ACF versus Metabox versus Crocoblock. Depends what you want to do. I will say if you want something that is straight out of the box, gives you tons of options, then your choice is between Metabox and Crocoblock because they have lots of options, whereas ACF still relies upon other tools to be able to do things like custom post types and those kinds of things. So you have that limitation. If you want something that is system agnostic, in other words, it doesn't matter what you use with WordPress, even if it's just WordPress on its own, then that gives you ACF and Metabox. But then you've got that choice between the two of saying Metabox gives you everything you need, whereas ACF just gives you the ability to create your meta fields and those kinds of things. So I don't think there's a right or wrong option. I just think there are the right one for a given set of tools. You know, if you have a toolkit that involves page builders and themes and things like that, and you're handy with a little bit of code in and things, all those things are options to you. So I don't think there's a one size fits all. And unfortunately, this is why I avoided doing the ACF versus Jet Engine comparison video for a long time, but I got asked so many times. But the outcome of that was basically the same answer as this. There is no right or wrong. There's just the right one for the right project. That's the way you've got to look at it. Don't think there's just only one. If you do, you're kind of just going to shoot yourself in the foot a little bit. Paul K, I assume you have to shoot off. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the real estate tutorial. It was a beast to create, but I learned a lot of things in there, and hopefully you guys have picked up some useful tips out of it as well. So thank you. Andrew, I've still to, come on, dude. Still to watch the real estate tutorial. It's either that or Netflix, and let's be honest, Netflix, there's nothing good on Netflix right now. So just grab a beer or a hot drink and just watch it later. That's all you need to do. Job done. Simples. Just joking. Okay. Ben Scott, I like the chatty style. Also good to hear a British voice. Missing home. Where are you, Ben? I mean, where are you right now? I like the chatty style. I mean, my videos, my tutorials are kind of like, I just try to get the information out without talking and waffling and adding a load of pointless, useless information to it. Fingers crossed anyway. But the live streams are about a conversation. It's about us talking about different things, about you telling me your thoughts and your ideas and asking questions and me coming back with my answers and my thoughts. So I think the conversational style is something that I know for me I enjoy, and hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. So thank you, Ben. Glad you enjoy it. And let me know where you are, and be good to know. Okay. Thanks for the answer to the question, Paul. I'm stuck to Elementor, so we'll continue using Crocoblock. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think the I think Crockerblock and Elementor do have a pretty formidable set of options there. Just go through the recent tutorials that I've done, the deep dives. It's expanded so far since what it was originally when I tested out probably like 2 years ago when Jet Engine kind of first came on the scene, that I really do like it. I know people talk about like the speed implications and stuff like that, but whenever you're going to use tools like this, there is a trade-off between the ease of use that they give you and the impact that that has. There just is, you know, there's lots of things you can do to sort of mitigate some of those things, and you know, fast hosting, CDNs, those kinds of things, they're all incredibly useful. They're all part of it. But if you choose a platform like WordPress, you choose to put a theme on top of that, then you choose to put a page builder on top of that, then you want to create custom data on top of that, and you want all the functionality to be able to output that data in a million different ways, all those things are going to have an impact. It's a simple fact. There's no two ways about it. There is always going to be an impact in a setup like that. It's unfortunate and people complain about it, but I think if people understood how complex getting all of those things to work together to make it as easy for people like you and I to be able to create sites that 5 years ago would have been way beyond what we could have done unless we were hand coders and we were happy with JavaScript and PHP and editing template files and CSS and all those kinds of things. There's a trade-off. There's no perfect platform out there right now that doesn't have either a steep learning curve, requires you to get stuck in to areas that you might not be comfortable or confident to do, or you go to the route of a page builder with WordPress and tools like Jet Engine or ACF and the extra tools you have with that, or Metabox, any of those kind of things. They all have an implication when it comes to speed that you either offset against the ease of use or you look for alternative options that don't use page builders. It's kind of just the way it is. All right, cheers, Andrew. The Scottish election. Thankfully, that doesn't impact me at all. So we can just have a drink and just celebrate things. But for my Scottish friends in there, in here tonight, do you want independence? Do you want to go back into the EU? Let me know. Andrew, your 55th birthday. Well, I would have said you're a day over 35, young man. Looking good. Happy birthday in advance if I forget. But hopefully your internet will be a bit better by then as well. WP Tasker, I always use your affiliate link. Thanks for the awesome videos. And thank you very much for your support. It means the world to me that you do use these links. It does help me be able to create content like this, to be able to dedicate a week of my time researching, testing, building, dissecting, creating all the tutorial outlines, then rebuilding it on camera, and then helping spread the word on how to use these tools. So that's kind of a big part of how I can keep doing this and how this has now become probably 80% of my business in creating content, things like that. So thank you very much for your support. That does mean the world to me. Thank you. Let's have a little look. Ronald, more subscriptions means an increased financial commitment for you and your customers. We have to make that decision. I'm not too sure what that's going for. I'm assuming that's probably something that I've missed out on. I do apologise. Milosh, am I saying that correctly? Thanks for your answer. No problem at all. I hope it helped a little bit anyway. Okay. Ripal, is there a video on Metabox custom tables anywhere without code? I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I only sort of upped the license that I had to tier 2 on the AppSumo deal last week, I think it was. So I haven't had the opportunity to test out how you push the data over into its own custom tables. I did have a very, very brief look, and that was basically it. So it's something that I will be looking at a little bit in detail when I get the opportunity to do it. So you can expect there will be something on it on the channel at some point in the next couple of weeks, month or two. I can see we've got a few Scots in tonight. So Netflix sucks compared to this. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to do one more question. Ripal, yes, it is dark. I'm assuming we're talking about this now. It's gone a bit dark. It is. the light is kind of failing. My camera's set for the daylight that I actually had to start off with. We kind of overrun a little bit, so things have got a bit dark. And I don't have my phone set up to be able to adjust my camera right now, so we're kind of stuck with me being a little bit dark. So I do apologize for that. Any chance of LMS content, Ali? And thank you very much for the hashtag Neil. Good evening to you. Glad to see you in here tonight. There's a possibility of doing some LMS content. I don't really want to keep doing what other people have done, and LMS has been covered by some of the other YouTubers out there several times. I don't really see... I'd have to bring something new to the table that I think is worth me creating content. It's kind of why most of my content is more on, dynamic content, because that's where my passion is. That's where I think I bring the most to the WordPress ecosystem or the WordPress environment. LMS is right now, not too sure. Never say never, but I can't say for definite. Richard, I'm absolutely with you on that one. Hopefully we can get together at some point. Those in the UK and anybody that wants to travel into the UK, and we can get together, we can have a WP Crew meetup, we can have some food, some beers, and we can just have a general chat without screens and microphones and lights and cameras and screens and buttons and everything that I've got around me. So hopefully some point this year that will be something that becomes a viable option, and we can arrange something to have a WP Crew meetup. So fingers crossed. Okay, so while we're going to be winding this down, if you're enjoying the live stream, give it a thumbs up. Let YouTube know you're enjoying it. Okay, I'm going to have one more. Let's have a little look. Malik, please make a video on how to use custom fields inside custom post types and or taxonomies. I am going to be creating something very soon on how to get started with the whole dynamic data and WordPress, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of foundational skills and understanding that I think will help people get started with working with dynamic content. And maybe one of the things inside there will be how to do more things like that. So I will take a look at doing that. Independence all the way and into the EU. So you're in EU, you're a Remainer, I take it then, Andrew. Cool. Well, it's nice to see we've got the Scots in tonight. Nice to see how my Celtic brothers are in. Okay, let's have a little look. One more question, and then we're going to wrap up a little bit. We're going to find one more. I'm going to find a question. I am going to find a question inside you. Don't you worry. And if we can't find a question, ask me a question now while I'm here. I like custom post types and ACF. Yep, me too. I like that combination. I think it's very, very good. I've created a lot of content using that kind of thing, and I think it's a pretty solid system. I think this is the nice thing when it comes to, using ACF. It's a solid, robust platform, and that's something that is really important. And it works so well with a lot of different things. It's probably the most supported meta field kind of dynamic data plugin that's out there. I mean, most of the, if not all the page builders that have any kind of dynamic options all support ACF. That's there for a reason. It's just a shame that the lifetime deal is kind of gone now, because the lifetime deal was an awesome thing, and I'm glad I grabbed that. So if you didn't grab it, it's a shame, but it's worth investing in anyway. Joe, I'd be down. Give an excuse to travel and I will. Awesome. That's excellent to you. Let's have a little look. I'm just going to do a little bit of patting myself on the back. You're amazing. You're the best tutorials on the net. Keep up. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy them. Okay. Anna, I'm definitely heading to Wales as soon as I can. It's been on my bucket list. Fingers crossed for travel freedom. You're going to find it's a lot colder than Mexico, I could tell you that for a fact. But you should. It's an amazing country. The scenery around here, if you like grand vistas and you enjoy walking and things like that, there are some amazing places, all within the space of a 50-mile radius. You can find so many amazing places to go and visit. So if you ever do come over, you're more than welcome to get some advice on places to go and see and things to do while you're over here. Just let me know. Okay, I'm going to do Rich Ward. This is going to be the last question of the night. It's going to be a little techie one, and then we're going to wrap up. So, are you still liking the Apple M1 laptop? Absolutely. Absolutely love the MacBook Air. This is the M1 MacBook Air. Base model, yes, they're expensive, but it's the base model. And this thing blows all the other laptops I've ever had out the window. And this was, or is, the least powerful out of all of them. So much so, I went and bought 2 Mac Minis. So they're now my main machines for video editing and general daily use. I was excited to see what they brought out yesterday in the Apple event. It was kind of disappointing. The new iMac is just ugly. That chin, should have got rid of it. And it's still an M1. Wanted to have something a little bit more beefy. So hopefully they'll have, when they bring out the, what I would assume is going to be the iMac Pro, probably towards the end of the year, hopefully they'll have the upgraded M1 processor, the M1X or whatever it's going to be called, M2, whatever. More memory options, bigger hard drives, dedicated graphics card as opposed to integrated graphics card would be awesome for even better video editing. But yes, absolutely love the M1 Max and I love the MacBook Air. So if you are in the market for a laptop, I would say you can't go far wrong with one of these. And if you want something just a little bit beefier, then the MacBook Pro, the 13-inch MacBook Pro, yeah, the M1 MacBook Pro, also good. But yeah, fantastic bit of kit. Okay. Hope you have a big garden. There'll be a few tents being pitched. Yeah, no probs. I'll just buy a bigger house. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up there tonight. I just want to say a big, big thank you for taking the time out of your day, your evening, wherever you are in the world, to join me for tonight's live stream. It's been a little bit less organized than my usual one. We've had more of a Q&A, but I hope you found it useful, interesting, and you've got some of your questions answered. If you're new, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day, your evening to join in. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll join me in 2 weeks' time, which will be the 26th, I believe, to join me in for the next live stream, where we'll cover some other topics. As always, if you haven't already joined up to the Facebook group, head over to wptech.co.uk/Facebook. You can see the link down below and just sign up there. If you want to grab any of the tools we talked about today, links will be in the description below. You can grab them from there. So just stay safe wherever you are in the world. Take after yourself, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care.